Yo, you know what this is, and you know why we're here. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore page. What's up, everybody around the world? Scratch the surface, ha-na-na-na-na-na-na, serve a purpose. Who's excited about today's show? I am for sure. Got the machine coming on today. Stoked. Absolutely. Yo, before we get to anything, I want to dedicate this show to New York Hardcore soldier who just passed away, Steve Pass. Longtime New York Hardcore soldier. Was in the Cavity Creeps back in the day. A beloved figure. Sadly passed away. Cancer, horrible. So this show's dedicated to Steve Pass and of the infamous Cavity Creeps. I'll tell you a funny Cavity Creep story. I used to take my little brother to shows back in the day, in the early 80s. And I took him Minor Threat, Misfits, SSD Control. One time, for some reason, I remember we saw the Cavity Creeps. And if you saw the Cavity Creeps back then, none of them could play their instruments. It was just noise. And afterwards, I asked my brother, what'd you think? He was like, yo, it just sounded like noise to me. So there you go. Rest in peace, Steve Pass, up there with Ray Bees and Todd Youth. And so this is dedicated to him. There you go. Yes, he booked Coney Island High gigs. That's right. Absolutely. That said, what else is going on that I need to mention? Just going to keep it moving. Everybody around the world, I hope you're well. Looking forward to seeing everybody today and having some fun. And listen, don't start with this pizza shit again. I know some of you with this Amore pizza. Enough already. When Armand comes on, when our guest comes on, we're going to deal with this Amore pizza thing. Amore pizza that supposedly gave Hoya and his kid diarrhea for a week. Oh, feeling my Kango, huh? Thank you. A lot goes into these choices. A lot goes into these choices. So, yep, and Jack Flanagan and Chuck Val. In the meantime, you know what? In the meantime, let's bring on Steven Messina. What's up, bro?
What's up? What's going on?
Scratch the surface, turn for purpose,
You know what I had for lunch today?
Time. What's that?
I said, you know what I had for lunch today? I had Lucia, which is it's not Amore, but I think it's the same owner.
Yep. Is that right?
That's what Johanna told me the other day. I think it's awesome.
Listen, I know I said we're not going to get into it, but shouting out Lenny and John's on Flatbush Avenue, which has the great rice and cheese balls. All right,
we got to do the pizza show, so eventually we'll have to do one.
Fucking pizza show. All right, Steven kicks off the pizza wars. All right, hey, let's do photo of the day. All right,
let's do it.
When all else fails, let's do photo of the day. Here we go. Yo, let me clear the deck. Anybody out there? Let's hear what you think. Here we go. Steven Messina, Hardcore Shutterbug.
Wrong answers only.
Yeah, wrong. Yes, right. Wrong. Let's start out with wrong answers because they are the most fun. Here we go. Photo of the day. Wrong answers only, please. Here we go. Let's see. All right. You know what? Honestly, bro, I don't. Oh well. Listen, I was gonna say I don't know who this is, but then I read the bass drum. All right, Rancid. No, Anti-Gravity. Menudo. Is it Menudo?
Close. Very
close. Is it the Osmonds? Is it Black Flag? Is it the Stray Cats? Good one, Upstate Rick. I see where you're going with this, and I like it. Yeah, the Hellcats, Green Day. Better than Rancid, Gina says. Better than Rancid. Oasis. Is it Oasis?
Oasis.
What was the Oasis? What's that Oasis song?
Wonderwall.
How does it go?
Wonderwall is oh Christ! Why can't I?
Come on, hum me a bar, will you?
Isn't that? I'm thinking of the other song.
Come on, bro.
I got a brain freeze, man.
All right, here we go. SSD Control, Wu-Tang Clan. Okay, Oasis. I Hate My Brother. All right, here we go. Is it Anti-Flag, a guitar player looking like Todd Morse?
Yeah, actually a little bit. He does kind of look like Todd Morse there a little bit.
Body Count, good one. Body Count. Body Count's in the house. Manowar, good one. There's Manowar again.
Wow, Manowar's popping up now today.
Manowar. All right.
I thought the bass drum said Antidote.
You know what? That's why somebody posted up is Antidote NYHC. Yes, this happens to be Antidote NYHC. This was taken a couple weeks ago when we played the Bowery Electric. Actually, not. All right. What do we got here? Go ahead.
All right. Well, it's Anti-Flag. The secret's out. And as you can see, gravity defying. This was the Warped Tour. Last one I went to, which was 2016, which was actually one of the best Warped Tours I'd seen in a long, long time. Sick of it all. Guar, The Alarm, Candiria, Hatebreed, Anti-Flag, Beartooth, the Ataris, the Street Dogs. It was great. It was at the Jones Beach parking lot. It was brutally hot, like 100 degrees hot. And one of those days when
they had the Warped Tour in the parking lot of Jones Beach.
Yeah. This is
not inside the venue.
No, nobody was in the venue. It was out of the parking lot.
Is that right? And, I'm confusing it with Lollapalooza. I went there for Lollapalooza one year, and part of it was outside and part of it was inside.
Oh, right. They had the headliner inside for Lollapalooza. But no, this was all in the parking lot, and everybody. It's just a really. I think this was the last year before they just made it into like a the last year that they toured the Warped Tour.
Right.
And
Right.
it was great. And all of our bands, the one thing I regret is because it was weird, like my friends in the Alarm played, which were kind of like an oddball choice for the Warped Tour. And they
Well,
were
they mix it
awesome,
up. They mix it up a little bit. You
which
know
I
what? Someone
loved.
just pointed out. I guess they're playing in front of an upside down American flag. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, well, that's the signal for "We Need Help," I believe. And
Is
these
that
guys
right?
are, yeah, the upside down American flag is like a distress signal.
I did not know that.
And anti-flag are like, super uber political, bunch of angry young men, and but the cool thing about this show, that the day after the Long Island show, Lou from Sick of It All jumped on stage and sang with the Alarm, and I missed it.
Is that right?
And someone sent me a photo and everything, and I could not believe that had to happen the next day from the show I went to.
Wow.
And
Lou sang with the Alarm, huh?
I was blown away.
What song
And
did they do?
I don't know. I haven't seen any video or anything.
Jesus.
I'm guessing. My guess would be 68 Guns, but if anybody who doesn't know the Alarm may know that. But Anti-Flag are a really, really good band, and sometimes a little too political for me personally. But I like a little bit of politics in my music.
Hey, listen.
But
What's better than a political band that's out on a Warped Tour that is powered by sponsorship?
Exactly.
Sponsorship. What's better than that?
But you know what?
Yeah.
Great energy, and flying. Like I love a band that you don't want to take your eyes off of it, and that's, we have the ultimate example with us today, which is Sick of It All. I mean, there's no better band like where nobody even touches the ground for most of the show.
Absolutely.
And Anti-Flag are one of those bands. They're really, really good live. And
Cool.
but yeah, that's our picture of the day.
Right on, brother. I'll bring you on at the end of the show and we'll talk to Armand.
Absolutely. In the meantime, if you need any latex gloves or disinfectant, I got it.
Listen, I think I'm good on the disinfectant, but I'm kind of into latex. So so put some latex aside for me. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. I'll talk to you in a bit.
I'll see everybody in a minute. I'll jump in there.
Thanks, buddy. There he is. There he is. It's the hardcore shutterbug, Steven Messina. What's going on, Rat Bones? What's happening?
What's going on, everyone?
Listen, man. Let's keep it moving here. We gotta.
I got a heavy load, but I'm gonna run it fast. All right.
Well, hey, first things first. Wait, first things first, bro. What's this?
All right. I got
talk fast.
What I did here was I did a 4-shirt series of famous pictures that I'm in from the hardcore world. And this is the last in the series. This is obviously, let's see if anyone can get where this is. I can run my shit really fast. Does anyone know what this picture is?
I'll find that picture. I got that picture here. Hold on. Let me see.
This will be coming out in November. Hopefully I'll have it in my hands by mid-November for the holidays. And I still have plenty of stock. I have a lot of shirts in stock right now.
Okay. Is that okay? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, so let's just get into it today.
Go ahead.
And I want to do my run. So I went to the flea market this weekend. Eddie Van Halen passed away. Rest in peace. We're doing a lot of rest in pieces, right? But I find cool stuff like this in the flea market all the time. But it's not Eddie. But to get a nice, little livestock photo of Van Halen, like $5 I paid for it, and then I got this one, the Ramones, which I came home, and then the next day, I heard about Paz, which rest in peace, Paz. I'm going to take this to Niagara. I made this yesterday. I was going to go there, but it was pouring so bad. I mean, Paz was a mainstay, a brother, and he represented New York hardcore from the beginning till he died. He lived his life his way, man. I loved him, and I wasn't his best friend in the world, but come on, Paz was everybody's best friend in a sense. You know, he was after hours. You know, we love you, Paz. So I want to keep it moving. I also got this, and then I'm going to segue into the collectibles of the day. I got this sick Gene Simmons, again, $5 at the flea market, real photo glossy. You know, we all love Kiss, you know, in New York. So I'm going to segue into.
Whoa! We all don't love Kiss.
I love Kiss.
All right.
I don't care.
Don't you know, like
most.
Yeah. Most people like
New York area, East Coast. Come on, we grew up on it. And that brings me into my collectible of the day, which is you got to stick with me. Buy the ticket, take the ride, like Drew always says. Not biting your style, but I'm going to use that one because we're going to go Topps trading cards, which is a big collectible. It's
what do you got?
One of my first loves in trading cards, whether I knew it or not, was these bad boys in the 70s. These Kiss. Let me come right up on it today. Boom. So we get these. And I'm going to run a bunch of cards. But we loved Kiss. I love these cards. And since we got Armand on, I'm sure he is upset that he never got to do his, you know, ballad. You know. Peter Criss did get his hit. So we're going to keep.
I hear you calling.
I love those, but I want to keep moving on with the Topps cards because these are all from the 70s.
But I can't come out and play.
I found this whole batch, and it's a funny story because this whole batch of cards I bought, when I collect, I seen some guy in the flea market who's got his whole table out, and he's got a big box of cards. I don't realize he's got football cards, and he's being like, when I seen what I wanted in his batch of cards, he was having that same feeling to the football cards from the 50s, and he was all going through them. When I rolled up on him and was like, dude, can I get into the other box? And like, he's like, oh, it's not for sale. We got into a little bit of a fight about it. I was like, oh, fuck you, and everything, walked away. So, but I was still fiending for that product that he had that I knew. The next day I went again, and I even baited him. I like went up and bought like this Ozzy button for $1 to see if he.
Bro, I gotta get our guest on today.
I know. Come on, I'm almost done. We're gonna roll. These are awesome. You're gonna love these guys.
Well, start showing them for fuck's sake.
All right, I'll tell the story. So these were some of the cards that were in there.
Hold on, let me.
Man.
Oh yeah.
And I love these $6 Million Man. They're all auction shots.
Cool.
$6 Million Man.
Who played the $6 Million Man?
Lee Majors.
Who was married to?
Farrah Fawcett, our favorite. So I love that there's Oscar Goldman. The jump over the fence was always famous, right? The jump over the fence. And then pulling the beam out of the ground. And then there's Steve one night, late night at Manitoba's, I think. he got caught in the mix. So we're gonna keep going. More Topps. I'm not gonna show all these, but this was another great TV show. And these were out before cards was like, you know, other kids collected probably sports cards at this time, but not. I would have had some of these badass Kung Fu cards. And also
Bigfoot son.
David Carradine, right? David Carradine was Kung Fu, and I actually liked his father's movies, John Carradine. I'm a big fan of John Carradine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In like every horror, but
Rat
also,
Topper, yo.
You know, this was like the first skinhead we probably saw as kids. Like that dude's skinned up. So these are pretty cool. Kung Fu.
That's like a pit. Yo, that's like a pit move right there, bro. That's like a pit move. Yep.
So yeah, we got the Kung Fu, but now to the meat of the deal. What I really wanted that whole batch for was these sweet ass Planet of the Apes cards. Is what.
Come on now, bring it,
boys.
Yeah.
These are called greenbacks because they're not.
Yo, those are from 1969, bro.
Yeah, these are
the original. That's the original Planet of the Apes card series.
One's there.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Get your goddamn stinking.
Yeah, man.
Goddamn dirty ape.
Yeah, get your paws off me, you dirty apes. Zayas. Is that my man Zayas?
Yeah, we got that
Yo.
Baby pitcher. Nah.
Yep. That's Maurice Evans.
And then
Oh, it's
Man's
Destiny, bro. The Forbidden Zone.
I mean, I was a big, Charlton Heston was big in our lives, man. Him, Clint Eastwood, Chuck Norris.
Listen, those cards, dude. When I was a kid, those cards were the holy grail, bro.
And then I even got in the batch too some of the TV show ones from the 70s.
Oh, that is from 75. That series is from 75.
Yes. And I always like these because they're always fighting. There was a little more action on the TV show. Look at that kick.
Yep.
And I always liked
Is that Urko or Ursus?
Horse.
Apes on horses. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And we always loved Urko, who was a knockoff of Ursus, to keep it going in the show. And then the last thing we got, because Halloween's coming up, these are very rare too, that I found in the same batch. And these are Marvel stickers. And I got about 75 of these. And these probably go for about $5 a piece. So I'm just going to, you can read them off, Drew.
Look, Ma, no cavities.
That's
Captain America. Okay.
And I like this, that they actually they tried to say something.
Don't pollute my waters. Submariner.
They were activists at Marvel.
Yep. All aspirin is not alike. Huh. Master Kung Fu. Who stole my right guard? Good one.
And then these are cool. These reminded me of Halloween totally.
Which hand has the living mummy? Which hand has the M&Ms? Hey, back to your shirt. Boom. Yeah. How's that?
There it is. That's the original shot. I think the artist did a great job. I didn't draw these. My friend Kevin Sykes from Detroit has drawn all the artwork from my last 4 shirts, and they came out incredible. And I just I'm so happy everyone is supporting what I'm doing. And I'm just trying to stay in the mix, stay in this thing. There's not much else to do at this point.
Right on. Hey, I'll bring you back at the end of the show to see our guest.
The last card because it's got to do with Armand.
Let me see. It's clobbering time.
1975, baby.
You know what? That's the intro. That's the intro. Okay? You ready? I'll see you at the end of the show.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. I want to say hi to Armand. Bring me back, all right?
Absolutely, I will. Okay? Thanks. That's our intro. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore fan page. That said, not going to cha-cha around anymore. Let's get it on. Today's guest is an American drummer, vocalist, and songwriter of Iranian descent. He is best known for his work with the New York hardcore bands Rest in Pieces, Straight Ahead, and of course, the mighty Sick of It All. In the past 30 years, he's played on all 12 of their studio albums, which have sold over 500,000 records. And he's toured the world incessantly. Please welcome, coming at us from lovely Tarrytown, New York, the Machine, Armand Majidi. Here we go. Buddy, what's up?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Cool. That was, listen, Rap Bones kind of does his thing and it becomes the Rap Bones show for a couple minutes,
Well, how am I supposed to top that? All those cards, those cards are amazing.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right?
Where does he get his hands on those things? You're talking about those being from the 60s, the late 60s. How does he get them?
Yo, Rap Bones lives it and loves it. It's his passion. He goes to flea markets and just goes deep. So tell us, everybody at home wants to know, what are you drinking, bro? Let's go.
All right, now I'm drinking Il Purgatorio Pilsner from KCBC.
Wow.
It's a Brooklyn-based brewery. One of the best breweries in New York City, I think. For my money, they make the best pilsners and lagers for sure. And this guy Rich that I met through my Instagram account ended up being a guy like, you know, working there. And he hooked me up with some beers. And I mean, it's not, I don't just drink the free ones. I go out and buy this stuff as well. but this is, you know, something that I got just by stopping by at the brewery a couple of weeks ago.
Is this backdrop behind you something that like is up? Is this something that your family has to live with all the time? Is this like, are you in the living room? What is this?
No, this is in the basement. So like the family doesn't really have to live with it. The cats come down here and, you know, use the litter boxes and stuff like that. But, you know, it's just something I've been doing the quarantine jams. I just wanted to dress up the basement to make it look presentable to the world, you know, because if it wasn't for this thing, you just see cinder blocks. And
right.
I mean, you know, you could see like up in there's nothing attractive about this basement. Like, you know what I mean? I try to do my best. And it's funny too, because a lot of people have written in on Instagram saying that, why does it look like Armand's on stage and everybody else is in their bedrooms? And so it's paying dividends, you know, it's like tricking people into thinking that I'm on some like cool stage, and I'm not at all.
Let me ask you something. I mean, we're going to go all over the place with this, but do you have a drum setup in your house, like at any given point, like that you go down, like, do you have a drum setup like that you can just, hey, I want to go downstairs and play the drums? Do you live with the drum setup?
The computer that I'm talking to you on right now is sitting on my snare drum.
Oh, okay.
You want me to turn the computer around?
No, you don't have to. but I was kind of a dumb question, but I was just sort of wondering if like a setup drum set, you know, lives in your house with your family.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as soon as this whole COVID thing happened, you know, like I started thinking about it, and it's like if you allow like a whole lot of time to lapse in between tours, even when you are active as a band, if you allow like a whole bunch of weeks to go by and you don't pick up the drumsticks and you're a professional drummer, the next time you pick them up, you might have lost something. You might have lost like a little bit of conditioning. You might have lost a little bit of that like quick muscle reaction that has to be there, especially if you're playing hardcore.
Right.
So I made a vow early on with this whole pandemic thing that I wasn't gonna let a week go by that I didn't run through a Sick of It All set, you know. Wow. So I've been doing that, but then just recently Craig hit me up with the concept of doing like a new wave of British heavy metal like side project thing. Craig with another side project. Craig is like notorious for like, he starts these things and then he's like, yeah, I can't do it. Sick of It All is going out on tour. Well, yeah, I know, but that's usually the case, but not this year, right? So this year we actually, like yesterday, I actually got the take that I wanted for the song that we're working on first.
Cool.
So I've been busy for the last, I haven't been playing Sick of It All sets, but I've been doing the same song over and over and over and over again. Sometimes like, you know, just like a ridiculous amount of times to see what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, recording it with the video and everything. And the same way I did the quarantine jams, all, you know, the same exact process. I got like the mics all set up. I got a little mixer right here.
Cool.
And it runs into my GarageBand. And so I recorded the track yesterday and sent it to Craig and Rob from who used to be in Rest in Pieces and Biohazard and Helmet.
Rob S.
Cheveria, that's right, and Straight Ahead. Like, so, you know, we all go back together, us three, all the way back to like the mid 80s, right? And Craig from Agnostic Front is going to be involved in this as well.
Oh, wow. Is there a name for it?
I don't really know. I mean, Craig is talking about it being called The Craigs and Das Goose, because Das Goose would be, you know, like Das is what we call Rob, and the Goose, people, well, Craig has called me the Goose. I don't know. You got to ask him where he comes up with these things, but you know, it's one of Craig's nicknames for me.
You know what's interesting? A little bit of synchronicity. The next show after this show is Paige from Helmet.
Oh yeah.
And of course, in the succession of events after Das, our friend Rob Echevarria was in Rest in Pieces with you, he went on to play in Helmet.
Mm-hmm. I was
Kinda
really
cool.
like, I was kind of envious of that gig he got as well, because at that point I was listening to Helmet all the time. I loved Helmet.
Cool. Hey,
You
let
know?
me ask you, how did music come into your life? Did you grow up in a musical household? Like, how did it happen for you?
My dad was really into classical, you know, so he was always listening to music. He would always like investing in cool stereo equipment back in the 70s, you know, like getting when it was like that whole like hi-fi trend and people were really into the components of their stereo and everything. So he was always like kind of working on having good sound in the house, and you know, when he would listen to his music. And I guess I caught the music bug just from him, but instantly, like, you know, listening to the radio, my ears were always like really fine-tuned to whatever was the most aggressive thing I could hear. And you know, it was just like 70s hard rock at first, and you know, like early heavy metal like Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and things like that. And you know, so and living in Iran, we didn't really have.
So you were born and raised in Iran?
I was born in Iran. I lived there for like 6 months. Then when I was a little baby, my parents moved to England for like 4 years.
Wow.
For my dad to finish up his schooling over there. Out, we were living in Bramham outside of Leeds.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that. Wow.
and yeah, so I grew up in a household that spoke English. I never really spoke Farsi well. I never really got a grasp of the language. Even going back to Iran, I never fully grasped the language. Being raised in England, supposedly, my mom tells me that leaving England, I had a Yorkshire accent when I was 4 years old, which is kind of crazy to me now, because that I can't even think about what I would have sounded like, you know. But my mom loved it. She always like a little bit of an Anglophile.
Do you speak Farsi at all?
Not well at all. Like
do you understand? Like, do you have relatives?
I do. Well, yeah. I when I hear my dad speak it to people over the phone, for example, I get a gist of what he's talking about, but at the same time, it's embarrassing because hearing two adults converse in Farsi makes me realize what like a puny grasp of the language I had.
It's a tough language, man. That's a tough fucking language, man.
It's a very, very eloquent language. So to not have a big vocabulary in it, you really suffer. So and that's why there are so many Persian poets. That, you know, poetry is such a big thing in Iran, because it's like such a flowing, romantic kind of language. Like even if you turn on the news, the way people speak and the way people deliver speeches and stuff like that, there's so much attention paid to the delivery of it. It's almost musical.
That's really interesting. So coming up, you know, you're exposed to some music in the home, and at what point did you sort of think, hey, maybe I want to play some music, and what instruments spoke to you?
Early on, like, you know, I mean, I would say, drums were always the thing that I picked out, you know, like listening to stuff. I would always pick out the drums. I would always kind of focus on the drums and what the drums are doing. I ended up, the first instrument I really picked up though was guitar, because once we moved to America, because, you know, like after the revolution happened and after the Islamic Republic was voted in, we realized that we should leave.
Right.
So, and, you know, we were lucky enough to be able to do so because my mom is American. So we came to America and lived with my grandparents in Jamaica, Queens.
Nice.
And so
from Iran to Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
And so we lived in it was like a little studio apartment that they had in the back of their house, you know, because they had their house kind of broken up into a couple of rooms that they rented upstairs. There's one studio apartment in the back, and then where they lived. So we went into that studio apartment. So there's three of us, because my dad had to take care of selling the house and take care of all the family
Mhm.
business. It took him like 2 years before he hooked up with us again. And so it was my mom and my brother and I in the studio apartment. Obviously, even as much as I wanted to play drums, there was no space for him. There's no way I'd be able to like really get permission to make all that racket in my
Yeah.
grandparents' house, So I asked my mom to get me a guitar, and she bought me a guitar for my birthday, and I picked it up, and I originally was the guitarist, but over time, it was actually when Tommy from Straight Ahead wanted to move. Well, at that time it was New York City Mayhem, when he
Right.
wanted to move to be the front man of the band instead of drumming and playing, which is a very awkward position to be in a hardcore band.
Let me put up a photo of New York City Mayhem, just so everybody could sort of get a feel for how young you guys were at this point. And
Well, I wasn't in the band at that point. I wasn't in New York City Mayhem. I joined. When I joined was when New York City Mayhem became Straight Ahead.
Okay.
Look at that.
Yeah, and that was Gordon Ansis on guitar, Tommy Carroll on drums, and of course the infamous Craig Satari playing the red bass.
Look at how skinny he is.
So did you, when you were in Queens at this point, like at what point did you sort of start connecting with kids like this, other teenagers?
I guess right away in high school.
Right.
There was even a guy that I met in my gym class very early on. Like, I wish I had taken him up on it too, because I would have seen some great fucking shows. There was this guy, Anthony Ferrante, that was he was one of the guys involved in the.
Sounds like a Queens guy.
Yeah, but like he hung out with Jimmy and
Right.
probably Paz, because he I think he was part of that whole like Cavity Creeps crew, So, and he was like, I talked to him, I hung out with him, I saw his asking him about his, because he was all like punked out. He had spiky hair and like had the whole punk look, and I was just like interested in what his music was all about, because at that point I hadn't really heard of any kind of punk stuff. I was only into metal.
Right.
And so he turned me on to some stuff. And then like the next year I met this other guy that gave me the first Bad Brains Roar tape and all that kind of stuff. And his name was Foil Shits. He gets a shout out in the song Crazy White Boy Shit.
Nice. Nice.
But I don't remember what his real name is. Foil Shits is a lot easier to remember. But he played in a band supposedly that played CBs at some point. Oh God, what's the name? Distorted Youth. Distorted Youth was the name of his band.
Distorted Youth.
And supposedly got the nickname because he went on stage when they played CBs completely wrapped up in aluminum foil.
Wow.
Foil Shits, yeah.
That's funny.
So I mean, like right away I started connecting with people, and it didn't take 2 years before I met Lou and Pete.
So one thing that I've always been a little vague on is what came first for you, Rest in Pieces or Sick of It All?
Rest in Pieces. Rest in Pieces was the first band that I was ever in.
Explain.
Yeah, so I was asked by Craig all the way back, like even before I had even finished high school, I think, to play with him in a band called Axe Attack, which was like a new wave of British heavy metal cover band, and they were playing at My Lady of Lourdes Church down in, I don't know what part of Queens that was. It was maybe Hollis or something like that, but they were doing a show. And it was like a battle of the bands kind of thing, and I was tempted, but at that point I would be on guitar. But I met Craig through these guys that I was jamming with, and they were also jamming with Craig. This the same drummer was playing in Craig's band, and so I turned it down because I didn't want my first show to be in a church. That was the reason.
All right.
Just because I'm very anti-religion. I hate organized religion. It just like rubs me the wrong way,
Mhm.
And so I didn't want
Well,
that.
that was pretty righteous of you as a young teenager, for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I just think I just come from
Yeah.
a country that got like ruined by
Yeah.
organized religion. So
Makes sense.
I was really kind of salty about it. I remain salty to this day,
Got it.
And so I didn't want that to be the case. Vic, who later played in Nausea.
Yeah. Vic Venom.
Yeah, Vic Venom. He ended up doing that gig in my place.
He did the gig in Axe Attack.
In Axe Attack, that's right. Yeah.
As your man Lou says, yeah, chiming
Yeah.
in. You know what? Listen. I have a great idea for the new project. The name for the new project that you're doing with Craig, you should revive the Axe Attack name. It should be Axe Attack.
I know, right? I would agree. It's a lot better than the Craigs.
The Craigs is like the Ramones. Like we're the Craigs. You could be like, you know. So
I know.
So you get into Rest in Pieces, but you're singing in Rest in Pieces.
Well, not right away. At first, I was on guitar.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. I was on guitar on the first 7-inch. It was almost like a fluke that I ended up doing any vocals at all because our singer just couldn't deliver the way I wrote the song. It was like so rapid fire, like old school punk.
Yeah.
That he couldn't get the cadence, the flow of it at all.
It's not for everyone.
Right. And so I had to, in the studio, I had to do that song. And for, anybody listening to that single immediately would say, oh shit, like great job on those vocals, blah, blah, blah. So, and his timing was just so bad. The singer's timing was so bad that like, even with a more regular delivery of vocals, he couldn't nail it. He couldn't quite get anything right. Because he had no sense of timing. It just wasn't working. So
and let me just interject. Who was writing the lyrics? Were you writing the lyrics, or where were the lyrics coming from for this early? Yeah.
On the first Rest in Pieces, it was a combination of Josh and myself. Josh was the bass player.
Got it.
And Josh wrote a lot of the music and lyrics for Rest in Pieces as well. And so did I. But like the most of the early Rest in Pieces stuff was a combination of the two of us.
Got it. Okay, so you end up singing for Rest in Pieces.
Yeah, like it didn't take long. It took like maybe just 3 months or so until we told Rob he was out of the band and I was moving to vocals, and then because of Straight Ahead, we asked Rob to get involved and be on guitar in Rest in Pieces. So like I was playing in Straight Ahead as the drummer, and Rob was on guitar. So we got Rob into Rest in Peace.
So it starts with you singing for Rest in Pieces, and then they ask you to drum for Straight Ahead?
No. Straight Ahead. See, like I was in Rest in Pieces for a while.
Okay.
As a guitar player first, then as guitar and vocals.
Okay.
It took a while, and like during that time, during the whole year, the beginning of the next year is when I started playing with Straight Ahead.
Got it.
And so, just playing with Rob, we already there was like an already decided upon guy that we were going to ask to step in on guitar. If I was going to if I was going to just be a front man, we were going to get Rob in on guitar. So that's what happened.
So Sick of It All really came third.
Yeah.
I always thought Sick of It All came first. And from what I understand, when you sat in the drummer stool for Sick of It All, you were just filling in. That was a temporary situation. You want to tell us about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just because we were all friends. We spent so much time with each other.
Right.
We hung out with each other constantly, incessantly. We were always hanging around, like the whole alleyway crew thing.
Right.
And I mean, and when we're talking about Straight Ahead and Sick of It All, we're only talking about a few months difference of
I see.
when the two bands started. Because I think it was early 86 that Straight Ahead started, and then later in 86 that Sick of It All started. So it was the same year, just a few months difference. So like not that much, time difference.
Got it. And I know from a little bit of talking to Lou and a little Sick of It All history that it wasn't long before you guys that Sick of It before you went and even recorded this demo, right? That happened like
No.
Right?
Yeah, they had quite a few of those songs already rehearsed and like written with their first drummer, Little Dave, who played their first show with them. So a lot of that stuff was already written. By the time I joined the band, let me see, we added just a few more songs. My Revenge being just one that I wrote for Sick of It All. Even I actually I wasn't even in the band yet. That was when Little Dave was playing, because I got up and sang the slow part at the first Sick of It All show.
Wow.
So that was because we were spending so much time with each other, we're involved in what, like in everybody was involved in everybody else's stuff,
Yeah, when you're young and full of energy before kind of life settles in, you could make those lateral, those movements,
Yeah, because life was all about just hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like nobody had families or anything like that. No, people like hardly even had homes at that point. Like we had places where we laid our heads, but like everybody would spend a lot of time with each other and like just sleep over at everybody else's places. And it was just like, it was more of like a shapeless kind of life. Like you didn't have so much of a routine.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, did there come a point when you joined, when you started filling in for Sick of It All, that you were sort of like, well, I've been kind of sitting here for a while. I guess I'm in, because I know this came along not too long after, as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, the Revelation thing just came through the successful shows that we were playing, and like the fact that guys like Ray Capo and like I got Jordan from Revelation, like everybody that were going to shows, and we were playing a lot of shows up in Connecticut too. So did you guys play
the Anthrax? Is that what you're referring to?
Wow. Yeah, we did a lot of shows at the Anthrax.
Wow.
Rest in Pieces even played the old Anthrax. It was down in it was like the old Greenwich basement. So
yeah,
and that was my first ever show. Like I traded the church show for the old Anthrax. But I'm pretty happy about that.
That's funny.
A lot more cred.
Yeah. I mean, this 7-inch really, I think this was the first Revelation. This is Revelation number 1, right? This was their first release.
Was it?
I think so. I mean,
I'm not sure. I think
maybe somebody out there let us know. Was the Sick of It All 7-inch Revelation Records release number 1? This is where we could utilize these people from around the world. Somebody's telling me it's not. Other than them in there arguing about friggin' pizza. Oh, okay, got it. Warzone was number 1. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, and that was with Tommy from Straight Ahead on drums.
Got it. Okay,
that was a classic. That was a classic Warzone era. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Listen, your know-it-all singer says he thinks it's number 3. So
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Revelation number 3. So yeah. So this whole thing. Who would have thunk it, right? When you took this photo, that it would have become so iconic, and the whole alleyway crew. We never know these things when we're young, right?
Right. Yeah. You can, and when I think back to that day and the fact that we got this one picture out of it, it's kind of incredible, because we were just fucking around for it was like hours and hours of us goofing off, taking the most ridiculous pictures, because we knew we had a fisheye lens, right? So like we were just having a lot of fun with it. But then we got serious just long enough to get this one shot.
And I gotta say, it's a great shot, and that's one of the great things about photography or if filmmaking. Pictures last forever, man, and you captured that moment. Even Richie Sipp looked hard in this photo.
That's true. Yeah.
That's great. So sick of it all. Gets cooking. And so you were simultaneously sort of in a couple of these bands, right? Because I know
three bands for a while. Yeah. And it got a little exhausting too, because sometimes I don't know, there must have been times where I played 3 shows in one day with the 3 bands. There must have been. I'm not. There were multiple times where I played 2 shows in one day. I know that. And of course, those were the days too where if I wasn't playing, then I'd be in the pit for all the other bands playing. And then it was time to like get up and play.
You know what I forgot to ask you as we had that other photo up? That was a BJ Pappas photo, right?
Yep. Yeah. BJ did all kinds of, I mean, I would think that she was probably the most prolific early New York hardcore photographer.
Yeah, I gotta get her on the show. So when I was researching the show and doing my homework, I'm looking at all these dates and when all this stuff was released, and I'm trying to figure out what came first, what came second. A lot of year. 86 and 87 were pretty proficient years for you, bro.
Oh yeah. A lot of stuff went down. It was like a very busy time. It was actually too busy because like when Straight Ahead actually broke up, then in a way I was just kind of like, I took a deep breath and I was just like, wow, that's actually kind of good, because all this other stuff going on, plus I was working a job, and it was just like, it was getting to be too much on me to always have band practice and work at the same time. It was just like I never had any free time.
Let's focus on Rest in Pieces just for another minute or two. It seems to me that Rest in Pieces made a pretty good run at it, right? You put the 7-inch out, and you guys, the 12-inch was out on Road Racer, correct?
No, with this first album, My Rage, came out on One Step Ahead. You could see it this is a flyer to advertise the release of that record.
Right.
So the Road Racer thing was our second record.
Right.
This is the first one. I like how it says "or at some records" down there. Like, it's great because Some Records was such a great place. It was like such a awesome like hangout spot in conjunction when you would go to CB's. You would either hang out at CB's or Some Records, and it was like just as socially relevant at the time. It was like a great little trade-off between the two places.
This is the 7-inch, right?
That's the 7. That's the first thing that we put out.
So it was the 7-inch, that 12-inch, and then the Road Racer 12-inch.
Yep, and that's. Oh, and we did the Free for All Hawker Records release.
Oh yeah,
that was like kind of like a precursor to being on Road Racer, because Hawker Records was a subsidiary of Roadrunner. So, and then Road Racer was some kind of weird offshoot of Roadrunner as well. So, at least we were kind of under the Roadrunner umbrella ever since we did like Hawker Night. You see that?
Yeah. No, I connected the dots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and I learned about this recently, is that yes, Hawker Records apparently was sort of like a subsidiary of like Road Racer, which
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they were, and John Bello was in charge of that label. And it's funny too, because the story about, you look at the name of the record company, you think, what the hell, like Hawker Records? And turns out it's John Bello, a New Yorker who speaks very quickly too, talking to a Dutch guy in his office overseas in Holland, and John Bello saying like he wanted to call it Hawker Records. He was saying Hardcore Records.
No way.
That's what John Bello wanted, and it turned out the Dutch guy misunderstood him and created this company called Hawker Records.
Oh my God. That is funny.
Yeah. So that's the history behind that name.
So at what point did sort of, I mean, Rest in Pieces put out, you know, a bunch of stuff. At what point did you sort of fold up the tent with Rest in Pieces, and why?
Well, the second album, everything was looking pretty good as we were going in to record that second album, and we were all pretty optimistic about it. Once we were in the studio, like calamity hit. It was just like because our drummer, this guy Al Brand, who did a good job on the first record. I mean, he's a very unique kind of drummer. He had his own style. He was like very unorthodox, but very energetic and good at the same time. But he couldn't play. He couldn't play the song. So that's why, like right here in this promo shot, there's just the three of us. Because we went in as a 4-piece band. We came out of that studio session as a 3-piece, not even being able to play shows because we had no drummer.
How did he get it? How did a drummer get into the band if he couldn't play the song?
No, he was in the band the whole time. And then for some, you know, it was like some weird thing happened mentally. He just couldn't play the songs in the studio. So as soon as those recording lights went on, he just froze. And like one song, and the one song on that record that he played on is a song called "Hooked Up," which is like a deep cut in the album. But I mean, it's a good song. It's a lot of people's favorite song on that record, probably because it actually had like a little bit more of a feel to it. Because then what happened was, as soon as we let 2 days go by out of 5, trying with Albert to get some songs recorded. He got that one recorded, but couldn't do any of the others. And so I had to like step in and learn how to play the songs on drums and then record all the songs on drums. So what was supposed to be 5 days of tracking and mixing to get the album completely done turned into 5 days of, 2 of them working with Albert, not working out, 3 days of me learning and tracking drums. And then we just had that done. And then we had to book other studio time. And we ended up having to find, I think I still owe my parents like $1,500 from back then, of like borrowing money to get this album finished. And it just ended up being such a problem, because we didn't have any leads recorded on it yet. We didn't have any vocals recorded. We had to record all that stuff and then have it mixed without, what's his name? God, the guy from Normandy Sound. I can't think of his name.
Tom Soares.
Like, thank you. Tom Soares, because he was such a conceptually sound guy. Like what he said really usually made the world a difference as a amateur musician.
So did you record? You recorded the third record at Normandy Sound?
Well, we started out that way. We only got the basic tracks done.
That place was hit or miss, man.
No, it would have. I think the album would have been great had it all been done at Normandy Sound, especially with Tom mixing it. Because we lost so much of the aggression and the mix, the way the album turned out, that ended up sounding just watered down. It just, it was like a lot of that album too is like a recorded experiment as well. I listened to it
this morning, by the way. And
I
listened to it, and your vocals are really interesting. It's sort of, believe it or not, reminded me a little bit of almost like Dave Smalley. Like, the vocals were really a little bit, and our good friend Jonathan Buskey, Buskey Design, says those newer Rest in Pieces tunes were on a whole different caliber of musicianship.
Well, thank you, Buskey.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe that's why our drummer friend, when the red light came on, he sort of spit the bit,
Yeah, I don't know. I guess quite a few of those songs were pretty straightforward though on drums. They were straightforward enough for me to just step in and learn them and record them.
I see, yeah.
Within 3 days, so they weren't all that difficult. I mean, he had some cool shit that he was working with too. Like the drum parts that he had, I couldn't even replicate. I had to like
Oh, wow.
simplify them, you know. So it would have been interesting if everything had worked out, but it didn't.
Yeah, listen, you know, these things happen sometimes, right? Sometimes you don't know until you get out on the ball field, right? With musicians, and same in the film business. You know, you just don't know sometimes. Some guys rise to the occasion, and some guys don't, right?
That's totally true. Totally true in the case of Albert, because and it was a shame because I saw him a few years back, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I just ran into him at Home Depot around here because he grew up in Pleasantville, which is like maybe 20 minutes away from here, and he had completely stopped playing music, and it was kind of a shame, you know, like he was like so into his whole like construction business and all this kind of stuff. I mean, good for the guy. He's done well with himself. He's made a lot of money. He lives a comfortable life. It's just like a shame. It's disappointing to me to find out that ex-musician friends of mine don't play music anymore.
Hey, you know, I can relate to that. Even, singing an Antidote, you know, when I joined Antidote, you know, Arthur Googie was playing drums. You know, he was in the Misfits. He played on Walk Among Us. He doesn't even play drums anymore. You know, he went from drumming for the Misfits, Walk Among Us, to drumming on Antidote, Thou Shalt Not Kill. Doesn't even play drums anymore. And that
wasn't Robo on Walk Among Us?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
That's Googie, Arthur Googie. The only Misfits release that Robo played on was really the last thing they did, which was Earth AD.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I don't know that.
Hey, yeah. So, hey, stick with me a second, will you? Let me shout out the sponsors. Take a break. Grab yourself another beer, and when you come back, we'll get into some Sick of It All. All right.
All right, man.
All right, there you have it. What's happening? It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles live, going out around the world, worldwide. Sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore page. The Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo, photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rollet, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. During this current pandemic, all information and online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. Also, Your Core Hardcore fan page is a digital platform aimed at capturing hardcore punk bands in real time, as opposed to unreal time. And get up-to-the-date information on what they're doing now. Also, the page is focused on promoting and supporting bands, the venues, and merchandise through the Instagram app, Instagram app on Your Core fan page. So there you go. Also, I want to remind you that coming up on the next show is our friend from Helmet. That's coming up this Sunday. Is Paige Hamilton from Helmet. This should be pretty awesome. Little bit of a tie-in with this show. Of course, as we're talking about Straight Ahead and Rest in Pieces, Rob Echevarria went from Rest in Pieces and joined Helmet. And it is common knowledge that he says he got the Helmet gig because of his guitar sound on the Rest in Pieces album. So that should be pretty cool. We'll talk to Paige about that and a whole lot more. Also, the show after that, we have Mr. London May from Sam Hain and doing some acting now. So we got London coming on the show. After that, that's a week from today. London May, Sam Hain, and he's doing some acting right now. As a matter of fact, I just saw his short film that he acts in on Amazon Prime. I got to give you guys the name for that. And then one more here, just to remind you, we got Jessica from Orange is the New Black and from Brujeria coming on the show. We like girls. We like to have girls on the show. girls rule. So this should be pretty cool. There you go. Also, and we'll get into a couple more on the next break. I want to remind everybody that the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live merch is out there. I know you want that doggy hoodie, the shower curtain, or how about the mug? Who wants the mug, huh? Drink up, you hardcore punk. Let me get the link out there. Let me get the Lancelot link out there. Here it is. I'm putting it in the chat room. There it is. I know you need the baseball bat. Listen, I'm going to make a couple new items are coming down for the holidays. We got a couple items. The big sellers here. The big sellers are the New York Hardcore socks, which I was like, socks? No one's going to buy socks. The socks are the biggest seller. The shower curtain. Everybody loves the New York Hardcore shower curtain, and the girls' leggings. There's a lot of girls out there that want that New York Hardcore symbol on their tushy. So there you go. That said, also, what am I forgetting? There's the link. I just posted the link in the chat room. So I'll post it again. Don't be shy. Get yourself a pillow. You know what you can do with that pillow. There's a tote bag. There's a hoodie. There you go. That said, just trying to make my way through all that stuff here. How about for all you lurkers out there? For all you lurkers and bloodsuckers, zombies, cyborgs, I want to mention that there is a Patreon page. I'm sure all you lurkers are wondering, I love this show. I fucking love this show. How can I support this show? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you how you can support this show. Funny you should ask. You can support, first off, there's a PayPal, stone4124@aol.com. If the Patreon is just too much to wrap your hardcore head around, there it is. There's the Patreon link. Please check it out. It's our community within the community. I've been posting all kinds of never before seen footage and photos and things like that on there. We do special Patreon shows. So there's a $2 tier and a $5 tier and a $10 tier. We did the Drew Stone Cinematic and Music Walking Tour the other day for all the people on the $10 tier. Go check it out. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Open that wallet and let it fly. What else? Proud Boys ruining Fred Perry. Maybe make some polos, Drew. No thanks. Next. I don't want to get involved in that. Lurkers welcome. All you lurkers are welcome. All you lurkers are welcome here. Where's the link? Bro, if I got to put the fucking link up in the chat room one more time, I'm going to come and burn your friggin' house down, for Christ's sake. Here's the link, bro. Joe the Mouth. Joe the Mouth. Hey, listen, Joe the Mouth from the Ice Cold Killers. Yo, Rumblers represent. Long Island represent. I hope you guys are well, Joe. We miss you, man. Miss you guys. Okay, what does a Mama Luke mean, Drew? Interesting. Listen, I'm not fielding all these questions right now. We got to guess. Gary Loco got the shower curtain towel and thanks, Gary. Got the shower curtain towel and socks a few days ago. Wow, you got the whole ensemble, brother. Man, that's something that's cool. That's cool. The bowling shirt. Yeah, there you go. That could be. I got 3 pairs. No, you didn't. Who says I got 3 pairs of socks? Kevin, you got 3 pairs of socks? Freak. What do you like, the Chili Peppers? They used to put socks on their dinglings. Bite that pillow. You know what? Good. Thanks for pointing it out to me. Get the New York Hardcore Chronicles the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live pillow, so you or your girl or whoever your loved one is can bite it. Bite that pillow. Come on, baby, and eat the rich. Bite down on that son of a bitch. There you go. We're okay. Okay, we're getting a little out of control here. Let me steer the ship back on course here. Yes, Steve Poss, rest in peace. Absolutely. We started our show with that. New York hardcore soldier, Steve Poss, rest in peace. Sleep on the pillow. You could sleep on the pillow. If that's what you want to do, whatever, sleep on the pillow. Let me clear the deck. Let me bring our guest back on, who's probably wandered out of town by now. So here we go. Armand, rest in peace, is straight ahead, sick of it all, and you're back.
I'm back.
Sorry, man.
Bite that pillow, huh?
Yo, listen,
Hey, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm hustling, kid.
The whole ensemble.
Woo! Yeah. Let me see what else we got here. I got a couple more photos, but we'll get to those. So let's get on the sick of it all thing a little bit.
Okay.
So you're in the sick of it all mix, and it seems to me like some of this other stuff kind of fades away. At what point did you really sort of say, "Hey, sick of it all, that's my thing"?
It's kind of a strange thing, because I was helping out Sick of It All when we first started out,
right.
And I did most of the recordings, with the exception of that one, the first side of the We Stand Alone 7-inch, when they had EK on drums, and EK used to play in Warzone.
But that was late. That was later.
That was later on, yeah. But Sick of It All, for the first few years that we were a band, we just did a bunch of shows all around New York and up to say Boston and down to DC and out to maybe mid Pennsylvania, and so we were doing the whole circuit around the Northeast, and just getting this really good following, and people were really, really into the band, so everything was picking up like crazy, and it was an awesome start to the band's career. It just started like wildfire, so and it was strange because I was in a relationship with this girl that was giving me a hassle about the whole idea about touring and everything like that. The first Sick of It All tour that I did, which was a great tour. It was us and Nasty Savage and DRI.
Is that an American tour?
It was an American tour. The whole, almost the whole country. We didn't get to do California. I wish we had.
Right.
But the whole rest of the country we did almost. And that was such a great tour. But the whole time, every time I called home, she was giving me a hassle about being away. And unfortunately, I chose to leave the band and get a regular job. I ended up working for Sick of It All's record label at the time, which was In Effect Records.
Wow.
And so I got a job there, and I tried the local New York guy with a local New York girlfriend and thing for about a year and a half.
You fool you! What were you thinking?
I at the time that we were out doing the tour, at that point, Rest in Pieces wasn't quite done yet. Right. And talking to everybody else, the guys in DRI and everything, they were just go with Sick of It All. Sick of It All. You guys are so great. You guys are killing it every night, and everybody loves you guys. You guys are opening these shows, but you guys are getting the whole place so riled up. It's working so well. So and I knew that. I could see it every night, and but at the same time, my personal bullshit kind of took over, and
you blinked, as he said.
Yeah,
you blinked.
I did. I blinked, and so I ended up taking a year and a half hiatus from the band. Let's put it that way, right?
Is that all it was? I thought it was a little bit longer than that.
No, it was only about, I think, a year and a half. But when I rejoined the band, it was to write the album Just Look Around. So wow. So between the point that I left and the point that we. And so we started writing Just Look Around. And so there was a good long time where I was back in the band, but we were just working on new material and stuff.
Oh, I see. I get.
You know what I mean?
I did my homework. I was going by release dates. So
yeah.
That makes sense. It's interesting because, talking to Lou, I'm not sure if it was on the show, might have been, but he said that even when we were out there with EK on drums and Eddie Cohen on bass, and no disrespect to those guys, it just wasn't sick of it all, And I think when you came back, and then certainly I know Richie Sipp is a part of the family, but when you came back, and then eventually Craig joined. I think that's when things got pretty serious. And along with the record you just talked about, that record wasn't that really a kind of sort of a watershed moment for the band?
Which one? Just Look Around.
Yeah.
Definitely for Europe. Yeah, I mean, that was the release that coincided with us realizing, holy shit, we can actually make a living doing this.
There you go.
Because once we toured Europe, the second time we toured Europe, we actually made decent money, and we were just kind of like, wow, this is really something. It could be our livelihood as opposed to just something that we do on the side and then come home and just work, So that was an important moment, and then once we got Craig in the band, then it was just like pedal to the metal.
Absolutely.
Because Craig and I have such a deep history going all the way back to Axe Attack or almost Axe Attack. You know what I mean? So and we had already played together in Straight Ahead as the rhythm section. So and the fact that Craig was such an important guy in the history of Sick of It All, like he was the guy responsible for the first Sick of It All gig, because Craig actually hooked that up. It was at the Right Track Inn out on Long Island, and you know what I mean. And then Craig was there. He wrote lyrics.
He wrote lyrics. He wrote lyrics for the first album, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
Lou talked about that in the New York Hardcore Chronicles film that I directed, which, by the way, is available on Amazon Prime right now. And so
yeah, but like you see what I mean? Like he was involved with Sick of It All the same way. I mean, I was involved a lot more, but like in the early days when we were all just hanging out together anyway, he was involved in the same way. He was always around. Band practice, you name it, he was always there. Whatever shows that we if he wasn't on tour, he would be at our show. That's for damn sure. And because back then, every once in a while, he would tour with Youth of Today or something like that, and they would do quite a lot of touring back then. But
that makes sense. Hold on, someone just sent me a picture.
And then Agnostic Front after that, like when he was in Agnostic Front, there were a number of years where, Agnostic Front obviously was his main band, and he was making a good living from it as well. But then when things went badly for Roger with his court case and everything like that, and Agnostic Front had to disband for a little while, it just made perfect sense for Craig to step in and fill the vacancy that Richie had left.
Yeah, and I remember, back then, and I'm talking my first sort of real exposure. And by the way, somebody else was just asking about what you're drinking. Are you still drinking the same thing, or have we switched?
No, I switched up. I got the.
Let's hear it.
It's Zocktoberfest Marzen by KCBC. This is their Oktoberfest beer. Look at how nice that label is. I met the artist when I was there just a couple of weeks ago. This guy does great work, and they make it all like kind of shiny and everything. Like there's all the shine put into the artwork.
How do you get that in the States or up where you live? They sell that up.
This is from Brooklyn.
Oh,
yeah, it's local.
Okay.
I'm supporting the local guys here.
Oh, good. Keep it
and the hardcore local guys too.
Keep it real.
Yeah. Unfortunately, for some strange reason, I hadn't been to KCBC until just a few weeks ago, and I have no excuses. I got I've been to Finback and Grimm many times, but I should have been to KCBC a long time ago. I finally did once they reopened their doors, and everybody out there that lives in the New York area, check them out because they're a great brewery and they're open again. And from what I saw, it looks like walk in there and like get a table pretty easily. It's not like if everybody's jammed into the place or anything like that. You could social distance and all that shit.
Yeah, that's starting to happen here in the city. One thing I wanted to share is, in 1990, I guess 92, 93, I fell in with the Biohazard camp. I did a couple of the Biohazard videos, Punishment, Shades of Grey. I produced them, and Biohazard was out on the road with you guys, and that's sort of where my first real. That's
where we met.
Yeah,
we met at that time,
and we were, that's when we were playing dice and having a lot of fun.
CeeLo.
Yeah, having a lot of fun and all that. But one thing that I took away from that, and because I remember we would cross paths with you guys in Europe, and Biohazard at that point was getting a little tour support, and the way that they sort of kind of handled it was they'd get tour bus and have a bus for them and a bus for like the techs. And at one point, I remember when they were really peaking out, they were rolling with a caterer as well. And then we'd see you guys, and you guys would be like the four of you guys in a van. And my takeaway was that like you guys just really sort of stayed the course and figured, what, like you said, we started to make a living from it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but your attitude was a little bit different than sort of like and maybe you could expound on that a little bit.
Well, we were self-managed at the time. We didn't have anybody telling us that we were the greatest, that we were going to be the next big thing or anything like that. We were just taking it one day at a time, and we never, we any day of Sick of It All's existence, we always just kind of felt that we were lucky to be doing it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we had any kind of great master plan where we're going to take over the planet and be the biggest band, So we always kind of what was really evident on that first tour, with Biohazard, was that we were in our van doing our thing, and we wouldn't even show up for sound check. And because we wouldn't even show up for sound check, because we would sleep in and take the scenic route sometimes, like we really would do that just to be able to like experience the country.
That's awesome.
We would do that and then show up like, just as the show was starting, and everybody from the club, everybody would imagine that Biohazard would be headlining and we were just main support, but it was actually the other way around. And then we would end up headlining the shows, but it was a strange thing, like to think back about the attitude that we had back then. I guess in a way, like, I don't know about, I think Lou and Pete probably would have preferred us to be more professional at that time, but I was a little bit less professional, and Craig at that time had just joined the band, so he didn't really feel like he had a say in the band's business dealings or anything like that. But also Lou and Pete didn't drive, so if I was thinking like, oh, we got to go down the Pacific Coast Highway between point A and point B.
We're not going down Highway 5.
Exactly, where you don't see anything.
Down the PCH.
Yeah, we're gonna go down the PCH to see the beauty of nature, as opposed to the fucking cow farms for and smell manure for 2 hours.
Absolutely. I had dinner with someone last night, and they asked me like about seeing the world, and and I told them, really, like, in my experience, like most of the world that I've seen outside of New York has been like from the back of like touring in a van or in a tour bus. You know what I mean? And then I also said, and it's a great way to see the world. It is.
But it was a comfortable way to see the world. That's for sure. You don't quite experience the world in the same way. When you're in a van, you get a little bit more of the real experience. Yeah. When you're in a tour bus, it does remove you a little bit, where you're in like this big home on wheels. Yeah. And you're kind of rolling along, and you got your bed right there, and you got you could like crawl into your bunk and listen to music, and like, or just go to sleep if you want, all that. Like when you're in a van, you're kind of forced to always, like, if you're stopping somewhere, you get out, you interact with the locals a little bit.
Do you still enjoy that?
Being in a van and doing that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I love travel. I love being able to actually experience travel. And that's why I'm saying this, is because sometimes when you're on a tour bus, you don't get the same experience. You don't quite take away all those things. It's still awesome to be able to do it, but you don't really interact with your surroundings as much as when you're in a van.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a scare there when you guys were on a major label that really big things could have happened. Did you guys get a sense? Was it an exciting time? Did you feel that, hey, because there was that moment there where major labels were sort of, the sieves and, a lot of bands were, popping up on major labels. Was there a moment there where you were like, whoa, boy, we might go over the top here in a very big way?
I don't think so, just because of the nature of the music. We knew that our music was not ever radio friendly. We knew that it was not ever going to be, it would never really appeal to a mass audience. So, and even when we did scratch the surface on a major, our A&R guy at that time, he was telling us, he didn't like the first mix of the album. Mm-hmm. He asked us to go back and remix it. And that's why we ended up working with Billy Anderson, was because the first mix that we did with Tom Soares turned out too clean. And it was because Tom had the idea, oh, you guys signed to a major, we got to make it like as much as we can, like radio friendly. Yeah. But it ended up backfiring because our A&R guy didn't want that. He wanted Sick of It All to be.
Who was your A&R guy?
I can't remember his name. An English guy, giant, puffy, curly hair.
This was East West, right?
East West, that's right. Yeah, it was East West for Scratch the Surface, and then it became Electra. Electra, right? No, Electra. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With Built to Last.
Right.
But that was our whole experience. It was just 2 albums being on a major label, and but it seemed like the whole time we were actually in that world, people wanted us to remain Sick of It All and not really alter anything. Don't fuck with the chemistry. Don't change what you're doing, because what you're doing is fine. And the live energy of it is what really speaks to people. Try to capture that live energy in the studio somehow. Unfortunately for us, we were never able to do that until we met Tua Madsen, which was not until 2006 when we did Death to Tyrants. The Assassin. Yeah.
Fucking guy's no joke.
I know. Like, incredible. What he was able to do for Sick of It All, like, that made... And now it's difficult for us to live up to the sound on the records when we play live. And now we got the opposite problem.
Since we're sort of poking around a little bit and we sort of go where the horse leads us here, talking about 2, and, I've been around for your last 2 records. I'm fortunate enough, I got the phone call to come and do some background vocals with the gang. And I always appreciate that call, and it's a thrill to be a part of it. You really have a great sort of formula with Jerry Farley has really stepped to the front. Yeah, and totally. You have a great working relationship with him, and your records sound damn good now, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I think Jerry did a fucking amazing job on the last record, not just because he engineered and produced it, but the fact that he was, producing, like, in the past for us, all that meant was some guy that would sit in a studio and think like, oh, this sounds good. Let's do it that way, as opposed to actually being a part of the record from day one when we all got together to introduce, well, I got this song. Well, I got this song. Well, I got this song. And like everybody starts playing with each other and playing the songs. And like, Jerry was there from day one, and was awesome to have a guy like a third party, in this case, a fifth party to get input from and to objectively look at everything that we were coming up with and give his suggestions. And, for us to be able to have that voice was a gift.
Yeah. Jerry's really, he's one of us, he's a New York guy, and he speaks our language. and he speaks the incredible language of music.
Totally.
He's Jerry's, and he has a great demeanor.
Yeah.
Good studio demeanor.
Yeah, totally. He can work with you and get you to like just perform in a way that like you come out of the experience feeling like, wow, I couldn't have done it without him. You know?
Yeah. And I think, yeah, and I think that, you know, I know that the last record, he produced the last record, so he sort of made his way up the ladder, you know, to the point now where you guys trust him, and he's at the helm.
Yeah, totally. And not only is he doing that kind of stuff, but he's also involved with the band. Like he's the guy that he was like our go-to guy for the quarantine jams, you know.
Right.
Plus, he's done videos for Sick of It All as well. He did. He got involved with the Bulls Anthem video, and
right, that was great. That was great.
The self-important shithead video as well. It's all him, you know. And it's once again, to have somebody with an actual artistic eye for things the way he does, and like the conceptual power that he brings to like anything like the things that he comes up with sometimes are a little like off the wall, to the point that we'll be like, I don't know, Jerry, I don't know about that one, but it's great to hear somebody coming up with shit, as opposed to the four of us knowing that like if I come up with something, the rest of the guys won't like it. You know what I mean? Just because it's mine.
Right. I mean, but you guys are pretty proficient songwriters. I mean, everybody in that band writes, correct?
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, I have to say, I'm a fan of Pete's lyrics. I think Pete writes great lyrics. You know,
and you know what's crazy is the fact that Pete didn't write one lyric until the last act of Defiance. And you know, all of these years, I wish he had written lyrics like going all the way back to the start of the band.
I know this because we're talking about videos. You know, we worked together on this, and he wrote the lyrics to this. Do you remember this?
Yep, exactly.
This was the Road Less Traveled shoot that we did, the video I directed. And, you know, in researching and stuff, I'm like, who wrote these lyrics? And it was Pete. And I love the lyrics to that song.
I think that might have been the first song that he actually wrote lyrics to.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I think when he like brought that song in, it was one of those things where he was just like, don't worry about it, I got that one. And he actually came up with the lyrics, and you know, and they fit the music, and everybody was like, all right, let's do it.
Oh, there's our friend Erich Hartman. What's up, Erich?
Oh yeah, Erich.
Yeah, listen. you know, you guys have these guys. Sick of It All has these guys that I almost never see around until Sick of It All plays. And then they all come out of the woodwork.
Well, Eric's an old school guy, you know. I'm not
dissing Eric. I'm not pinning it on him. I'm just saying, like, whenever Sick of It All plays, like a bunch of these sort of people that I usually don't see around. Listen, I'm out all the time. I live and breathe this shit. I'm out all the time. And then, oh wow, what's up? You know, you see people that they come out of the woodwork for Sick of It All. You know.
Well, I mean, once you're like an older band, there's certain people that you know, they live their lives, and then you know, when an older band plays, they have a tendency to come out of the woodwork for, you know. It's like, I think it's actually more age related than anything else. You know, age and work related more than anything else. For sure, man. And I think for a lot of people also, you know, life moves on, and people have a wife and they have kids and other things, and you know, they come out, they get their mojo working when something that really speaks to them, you know, that they're connected with, you know. It's hard. Plus, Eric is a guy that he grew up in Michigan, you know, so he wasn't always a New York guy. He moved to New York, I guess not that many years ago, but he's relatively new to the there's another reason why we don't see him that much. You know, and there's
there's our friend May in this picture as well, who's a big supporter of the
Yeah,
show.
it's awesome
Yeah.
that she actually was a part of this video, because
That is so cool.
lives in
Yeah.
London, you know,
Yep.
and was able to be in New York at the time that we shot this. And she's an old friend. Like, we've known her, I don't know how long we go back with her, but it's been quite a while. And like every Sick of It All European tour, she always takes a trip, not only for shows around England, but also flies to the continent and sees usually a string of shows in Germany or Belgium or Holland or wherever, and sometimes she even travels with us.
Yep. Yeah, this is a shot from that day. This is one of my favorite production photos that I have in my collection. This was taken by Brooklyn Larry, his wife.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, she took.
Where was that taken?
That was the day that we shot the video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
That's in that room.
I think I went a little overboard with it just for men on my beard there.
Hey, listen, it happens. It happens to the best of us, But yeah. So there's that, and and one other photo. We'll take a break and then we'll come back and take some questions. But one other photo is I really enjoyed interviewing you for the New York Hardcore Chronicles film. I thought you had a lot of really great stuff. I think you were really you said a lot of really poignant stuff in the film I directed, the New York Hardcore. It was honestly, bro, it was one of my favorite interviews I did in the film. I thought you were really great.
Thank you, man. I came away from that interview feeling the same way. Like I didn't know what to expect, and you made me feel comfortable right away. I just was able to come up with answers that were, I guess profound. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and it worked out. Totally worked out.
And the film for me is very special because at the same time that film came out, I had the Michael Alago film on Netflix, and that was a whole nother headache. And then there was the New York Hardcore Chronicles film, which was just really meant so much to me and a lot of other people. Yeah, people love to rip on me. People love to rip on me with the beard, man. Yeah, don't make me grow the beard back, people. I will. I had the beard happening, I don't think I'm growing the beard back. I think
the rabbi. Somebody wrote the rabbi. Who's the rabbi?
Right. Who's the rabbi behind the camera?
The rabbinical beard.
Listen, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. So that said, hey, stick with me a minute. Let me shout out a couple sponsors, and we'll come back and we'll take some questions from around the world. All right?
All right, man.
Thanks, buddy. Hey, how about that? Hope you're having a good time. I am. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore fan page. Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, located in Lakewood, Colorado, is the Rocky Mountain headquarters for all things punk hardcore metal. Established in 2014, they have the largest selection of records, CDs, shirts, stickers, patches, and accessories between Chicago and LA. From the pit to the ditch, they've got your back. Get in touch with them at www.chainreactionrecords.com. Also, Chain Reaction Records putting out the End of Hope vinyl featuring Davey Gunner, and we have to have them on the show to talk about that pretty soon. Also, our oldest and most loyal sponsor, New York Hardcore Comics. Opened back in 2013 when lifelong friends Debo the Pro and Lee Fairley combined their collections and obsessions for comic books, punk rock, toys, statues, Magic the Gathering, and all things horror. The horror. The store is located at 117 Main Street in lovely Dobbs Ferry, New York. If you want to support them during this pandemic, please contact them by email at newyorkhardcorecomics@gmail.com. And last but not least, come on, Vlad, bring it. Organic Grill is a vegan restaurant located in the East Village of New York City at 123 First Avenue. Featured in New York Magazine, the New York Times, and Veg News. Their dishes have won numerous awards, including Best Veggie Burger. They make their own cheeses, sausages, and burger patties, and every dish on the menu can be made gluten-free. This year, they're celebrating their 20th anniversary. They're all about having a great time while enjoying amazing clean food. After 3 months of being closed, they're now open for deliveries. Get in touch with them. Order some great food at www.theorganicgrill.com. Also, a couple other shows coming up. Got to mention them. Gotta go. Gotta mention them. Coming up Wednesday, October 28th. You asked for it, you got it. Speaking of sick of it all roadies, Toby Morse is coming on the show. Direct from Hollywood. Here we go. Toby Morse is coming on the show. Then, after Toby, we have the one, the only. Oh, who did I forget here? Oh, let me fit this in. You know what? I'm going to slip this in here. You hear it here first. Just put this together. This is going down on Sunday. Whoa. What's going on back there? My TV got a mind of its own. All right, kids. Stick with me. Don't panic. Coming up on Sunday, November 1st, here we go. Announcing it here first. How about John Connor from Dog Eat Dog? Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's come on. Buckle in, kids. You bought the ticket. We're going to take the ride. Here we go. John Connor, Dog Eat Dog. We love Dog Eat Dog. Got a lot to talk about with John. That should be super cool. So that's happening. Then, of course, we got AC Slade coming up. AC Slade from Dope, the Murder Dolls, Joan Jett and the Black Hearts, and, of course, the Misfits. Although we can't put that on the flyer or we're going to get hassled legally. So, but we could say on the show that AC Slade, Dope, Murder Dolls, Joan Jett and the Black Hearts, and the Misfits. So there you go. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. And then, last but not least, certainly, the big 75th show. The big 75th show. Here we go. Walter Schreifels coming up. Wally's coming on. Gorilla Biscuits, Youth of Today, Quicksand, Rival Schools, and Dead Heavens. That's the big 75th shindig. So that should be super cool. Appreciate all your support. Love you to death. Love you, darling. Also, let me put up the link. You bums with the merch. There's the link for the merch. I'm putting it up. Couple other things I got. Also, if you have any questions for our guest, Armand, please post them up. We're going to do 20 minutes of questions with the machine. There's the link. I just posted it for the store. Also, subscribe if you're watching this show. There is a box right about there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. I'm like 180 people shy of being able to integrate a couple other things with the YouTube show. So subscribe to the show. Stop lurking. Help me help you. Help me help you. Subscribe to the Patreon page too, you lurker. Help me help you. So that said, I think I covered everything. I got everybody. Buy merchandise, join the Patreon page, watch the other shows, wear a mask, no lurkers, no scrubs. There you go. What's up, Riggs Ross? What's up, bro? Here we go. Let's bring Armand on. Let's do some questions. It's
Yo,
like a
Riggs.
It's like a It's like a comedy. It's like a comedy routine here. Yeah, look, Joe James. You got Joe James watching.
Nice.
We got Mitz is on there. Got the whole gang. Let me see.
Thread. Mitch from the Pizza Thread. Pizza Thread. It's a thing.
Oh God, fucking, like enough. I'm ready to go burn. I'm ready to go burn down Amores, man. I'm so sick of hearing about it.
Well, we don't have to talk Amores when we're talking pizza. I mean, that's just like a one little place in New York. There's so many.
No, we're not getting into pizza.
I'm trying to like steer it that way.
What's up, Jason? What's up, John and Jilly? What's happening, brother? How are you, buddy? Yeah, Lou.
That guy John, he sent me some cool rest in pieces pictures that I used on Instagram. Yeah, John. Yep.
Hey,
I still have to go to that brewery that he told me about. up on the North Shore of Long Island.
Hey, Lou Kohler, laugh it up. We ain't talking about pizza, bro. Here we go. Yo, Chucky Brown is my go-to guy. Best questions. I don't even have to read it. All I know is Chucky's asking a question. I'm posting it up. Yeah, he's that good. He's really good.
He's exactly right. It was.
Let me read. Let me read it. Rest in Pieces played a show at CBGB's, and Craig Satari played rhythm guitar. Yeah. Did he play half of their set with no sound?
Yeah, he forgot to put his standby switch off.
Oh, come on.
I'm serious. He was so uncomfortable on bass. I mean, on guitar. He's a bass player, you know. So like, for him to actually play guitar for a band, he was nervous.
Why was he playing guitar?
Because we were thinking, let's add another guitarist just to like fill out the sound, and so when Rob plays a lead, the bottom doesn't drop out and all. There's the same reason anybody goes 5-piece, you know. So we tried it, but he was like a fish out of water.
Oh boy, that is funny. Okay, here's one from our good friend and loved one, Upstate Rick. Hey, Rick, I saw your post. You're having some health issues. Our heart is with you, bro. We love you. From Upstate Rick, is there a perfectionist in the studio? And why is it Craig? LOL.
It's not Craig. It's not
Craig. We know that.
It's me.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
I'm the guy. I'm the like little things really bother me, you know. So, you know, I get in there. Once I'm in the studio, then, you know, my head's in it. And when I'm hearing my own performance or anybody else's performance, I always like pick out the smallest thing, and it just irks me, you know. Like, so I'm the perfectionist. I'm that guy.
Wow. Yeah, I guess. Are you? I mean, do you consider yourself a studio guy? Like, I'm not. I don't like the studio. I'm not a studio guy. I like to come in and do my thing. But I know some people like, I love the studio. I'm like, get away from me.
No, there's something about this. I love both the live and the studio, but like the studio, there is something about it that I really get a satisfaction from. Like when you finish a record and you're actually happy with the result, which, I mean, I got to admit, like I'm rarely happy with anything, but you know, if you're like satisfied at least with what you're coming out with, then it's a real like sense of satisfaction.
Yeah, and your producer and friend of ours, Jerry Farley, says absolutely in caps.
Well, he knows. He knows.
Absolutely is Armand.
If anybody knows, it's going to be Jerry.
Our friend M. Heberling says, how are most of your songs written? As a band, or you bring in riffs or lyrics and build from that? This is a good question.
Yeah, it's good. It's like, and this one kind of really goes, like once Pete moved away from the New York area, there's very little chance for us to really get together and jam and like come up with songs in like a spur of the moment kind of way. So over the last probably 10, 15, going on 20 years, we've been just getting together, working on songs that we write separately from each other. And then if, for example, there's a song which is kind of incomplete that needs help being finished, then somebody will bring in the most part, and then we'll try to get together on what'll make it work as a full song. Like where does it have to go from here? What do you feel it should do? Should it speed up? Should it slow down? Should it, like, you know, do a dynamic like little break or something like that? You know what I mean? Like there's all those options. Like you always kind of like, you want the song to do something at a certain point, and you come up with the ideas. You like basically we brainstorm about those unsolved mysteries. But a lot of the times, I'll have a full song. Pete will have a full song. Craig will have like almost always a full song, but not always. But like you know, like there are a few songs like DNC is a song where Craig had almost the whole song, but he needed help from me to like with the lyrics, especially to make it flow properly and make it be the song that it is on the record.
That makes sense. I got Chucky Brown again. Can he speak on his time at working at Relativity Records, probably during the same time Danny Diablo was working there?
Yeah.
Now, let me just say this: that the thing about that Relativity and In Effect, and like a lot of hardcore kids like work there, and like a lot of stuff like seemed to like get liberated from the stock room, you know?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people, friends help friends no matter what job they're working, so that happened. But sometimes you would also come into the garage area of Relativity Records, and they would have an entire dumpster full of CDs that they had to destroy.
Wow.
Yeah, they were all they were like I wouldn't call them scams, because they were actually it was legal to do this, but they would have to destroy CDs. So I mean, if you're gonna see that things are being destroyed anyway, you might as well grab a few and at least give them to your friends.
Why would CDs get destroyed?
It's some weird record company business thing where if they made too many and had too many returns, and it would reflect negatively. It was something like that. It was always every company has its like little ins and outs, and ways that they do things to maximize. And this was one of those things. Even though maximizing is completely wasteful, it still was what it was.
Listen, and of course we dig them out and go bring them the Generation, Generation Records and sell them.
That's true.
We all used to do that. We all used to do that. Yes, a bunch of hardcore kids worked at Roadrunner too. Yeah, this is true. Here's one from our friend Thomas Starkey. How did House of Pain remix of Just Look Around come about? Everlasted a dope verse on that. And I know that's never been. I don't think that's ever been formally, officially released, right?
It was released on the Outtakes for the Outcast thing that we did on Fat Records. It was like just a whole bunch of like B-sides and things like that. And we threw that one on. Once we were able to like clear it legally with everybody, we put that one on as well, even though it was all we had to go on was an old cassette recording of it. So the sound quality isn't the best. But we just we realized that it had never really officially seen the light of day. Might as well make it happen, and it was a cool remix too. The way it came about was because
it was great.
Toby, when he was teching for us, he befriended those guys. I'm not sure exactly how, but he just did. I guess those guys had like enough of an interest in maybe hardcore and punk the way it was.
And those guys were in the video. Those guys were like Toby was in, I think it was Shamrocks and Shenanigans. I think those guys kind of turned up in that video, I believe.
Well, we were there for the filming of that video. Like all of us were actually there. I don't know if Toby was in it. I know we were all right around the video while it was being filmed. And that's why Everlast is wearing a Sick of It All cap.
Right.
It's because we were just hanging out with them because they were in New York. They were like, LA guys enjoying New York with us, and it was a cool thing to like strike up this friendship with these guys, especially because they were blowing up at that point.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see that they had a taste for what we were doing and for hardcore music and for, hardcore punk or just for them to have an interest in underground music being what it was at that point, especially very aggressive underground music. You know? So it was cool to see that. And it was Toby that really made that connection. And so the remix came out of that.
Armand, are your kids into music too? Do they play instruments?
I wish they did. My daughter is into music a lot more than my son is. My son is not really into music. When you ask, he listens to some stuff, but he's not a really musically minded person. My daughter is way more so, and she's on her own world of discovery right now. She's like I just noticed there was a little note that she had written to herself when I came downstairs today. Like I realized that she was like going to look up Mudhoney.
Wow.
I don't want to be the person to like really tell her, listen to this, listen to that, because as soon as anybody does that to someone her age, and she just turned 20, as soon as you do that, then it becomes more about the person telling you what to listen to as opposed to you discovering it for yourself. I'd rather her discover Mudhoney on her own and realize, wow, I really like this song, I really like that song for this reason or that reason, and not be being preached to by somebody else.
You know, kids, I mean, I don't want to say kids today, because,
No, but I remember being that old, and if somebody told me that I should listen to this and should listen to that, I probably wouldn't listen to it, because then it wouldn't be me discovering it on my own. Anybody that discovers shit on their own really has an attachment to it, you know? And that's why a lot of, and being in Sick of It All for as long as I have, that's very obvious, because you have people that got into Sick of It All in this year and versus somebody who got into Sick of It All that year, and they're decades apart, but their favorite albums are always the very first album that turned them onto the band.
Of course, that makes sense. And, you know, we've talked about this on the show, and I've addressed it in some of my films, is, you know, from when we were coming up, you know, music was much more connected in a certain way to the community and the culture. You know, it was like, what are you? You know, are you a disco guy? Are you a punk? You know, like, and the battle lines were drawn. And, you know, we'd go to the record stores on Tuesdays and pick up the record and, you know, just, you know, and look, you know, and try to decipher the artwork. And you know, it was a real part of our lives and the culture. And music just doesn't resonate that way anymore. It resonates in other ways, you know, video games and other things. But in our time, you know, music was kind of severe. It was like, you know, you could catch one, you know, depending on what you listen to, you know.
And it's a shame that isn't such a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like the layout of the record being so important to what the band represented, and like it being such a part of your experience listening to the record, because you would listen to the record and, you know, stare at the artwork and you'd be like, oh, you know, like sometimes it made a world of difference to be able to like really appreciate the artwork, you know, in accordance with the music, and have it be like a simultaneous thing that you were just taking in, you know. So it's a shame that it's not that way anymore. CDs kind of ruined that. The format of the CD really kind of ruined that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Our friend Bernardo says, favorite stadium you've been to? I know you stadium hop and go to games around Europe when possible. Liverpool fan, is that right? Are you a we'll call it football? Are you a European football fan?
Yeah, I am.
Is that right?
Guilty as charged.
Liverpool, huh?
Well, yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan. I have friends in Liverpool that help me with tickets to a few games that I've been able to attend while on tour in Europe. Things just turned out that way, you know, like lucky enough for me, it's a couple that I know over there, and the guy's uncle used to play for Liverpool. So he would be able to hook me up with tickets, and going to Anfield was a fucking tremendous experience. That has been my favorite stadium to go to, Anfield. Wow. No doubt. Because I mean, you think about the atmosphere at a place like Anfield. There's what other place are you going to compare it to? Maybe Dortmund or something like that. Where funny you should say that. That one of the few games I've seen was in Dortmund, because back in the day, Century Media was based in Dortmund. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I've never been to Dortmund, but like
beautiful city.
When you nice place, and when you see the games and that, what is the name of the wall? The yellow wall or something like that. It's just that it's like that sheer you know, spot in the stadium right behind the goal where it's like such a mass of people, and they're all like really one on top of the other, because it must be like, if you're up on the top, you must probably have like fucking vertigo, you know, like, because
it's probably not even seats, right? It's probably just like people just stand the whole time, probably.
I think it's seats, but it's such a steep incline that it just makes it this wall. And you know, that's why I think that Dortmund probably would be, you know, give Anfield a run for its money as far as sheer atmosphere goes, but there are probably not many stadiums that could.
A quick Dortmund story. When I was managing Marauder and Sub-Zero and Furia 5, and they were all signed to Century Media, and Century Media was signed to Dortmund. And my girlfriend at the time, later to be my wife, now of course my ex-wife, but we were in Dortmund, and when they won the I don't know exactly, it sort of like the World Series or whatever it is that
the Bundesliga.
Yeah, and they had the big parade through town into the.
Oh wow, you saw that?
And we were right there, and I'm on very good terms with Christine still, and we always reminisce about that. It was so exciting. Coming from New York and being a Yankee fan and seeing that the parades down and ticker tape parade, and we were there and we were in the streets and it was something else.
Oh yeah, I mean, and you're talking about like the area of Germany where football, like I would say, probably means the most.
Yeah.
And that whole area that is like really kind of industrial, a lot of like factory workers and everything like that. And it just means everything to them. The passion surrounding those clubs in that area is just like crazy.
Amazing how we go off on tangents on this show, right?
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. Now everybody in the chat room is arguing about football, right?
About football, yeah.
Hey, Paul. Paul says, Drew Stone, put up your Patreon info. I'll stop being a cheap bastard.
Get some shower curtains.
No. This is my Patreon page.
This is the walk-in tour.
No. Well, the Patreon is sort of like it's what Kickstarter and GoFundMe is.
Yeah.
Well, Patreon is what people support you. They become a patron. And there's different tiers. There's a $2 tier, a $5 tier, a $10 tier, and each tier has different incentives and different things. And we've sort of created a community within this community on my Patreon page. We have like almost 200 people, and I release all the stuff that I've never released before. I go deep into my footage, and because in a way I'm sick of putting stuff on the internet because people just grab it and pass it around like a cheap Tijuana hooker, and you never get credit for it. And it's sort of like it's everyone just swipes it. So that's what it is. So there you go,
That's
Paul.
Good, yeah.
Don't be you're gonna stop being a cheap bastard. Well, there it is, right up there. And what is it? Was this the show that put you over the top, Paul? Having Armand on the show kind of like pushed you over the top. Well, thanks, man. Let me see what else. We'll do a couple more, and then we'll move it. I'm sure you got dinner coming up soon, and there you go. Let me see what else we got. Any other questions for Armand, please? Who's a big fan of yours, man?
Who's that?
I think you know this. Is Igor from Sepultura.
We
love that dude. We love that dude.
There was this one show that we played, I think it was in San Diego on that tour that we did with Biohazard. I don't know if you were there on that day. Were you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. When we played San Diego.
Yeah, I was there.
It was a crazy thing because I heard that the guys from Sepultura were going to show up.
Right.
And so the whole show I played, and Igor from Sepultura is like just leaning on the drum monitor and just looking at me, watching me play. And I was just like,
did you know it was him?
I knew it was him. I just met him briefly before the show, because I wasn't on that tour that Sick of It All and Sepultura did together. That was EK. So I hadn't known him before.
Okay.
So I had just met him that day. And he just watched me like a hawk. And I was kind of like, oh shit, this guy, he's a metal drummer. This guy is like, top of the fucking league. And when you're talking about the difference in skill between metal and hardcore drummers, you're talking, it's night and day. Yeah. metal drummers are in a completely different level.
Igor's really special. The sort of like that style that they sort of, in lack of a better, pioneered. I hate to use that, but Sepultura sort of created their own, and his drumming was such a big part of it. It was really, really powerful, man.
Yeah,
powerful
totally.
Drummer.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even like after, I think he set the bar to a degree that Sepultura can never have some guy that just walks in and kind of like messes around with any of their stuff. It has to be some like really top level drummer, and that's what we've seen over the years. Is Sepultura always has some like incredibly skilled drummer.
The kid that's drumming for them now is unbelievable.
Yeah, I know, and that's what you see coming out of Brazil constantly.
Yeah.
Are these guys that are just, you know, technically insane drummers? Like the skill level that is going on, like all the drummers coming out of Brazil right now is just ridiculous.
Hey, somebody asked, where is that?
Oh, was that about my warm-up routine?
Yes, thank you.
I saw that. I saw that. You know what?
Is there a warm-up routine? There has to be. There has to be. I know you don't walk in. I know you don't walk in cold. So.
Well, yeah, but to be honest, it fucks with my mind a little bit. If anytime I've ever like picked up drumsticks and messed around, like tapping out, like, you know, paradiddles or some like rudiments or something like that, it kind of fucks with my mind when it comes to the show, because when we start playing our show, rudiments have nothing to do with it. So it's more along the lines of me just working on my body. I just have to get my body ready for what's going to happen, because once I'm behind the kit, it's kind of like you go from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds, you know? So it's like,
that's interesting.
And so what I have to do, I have to make sure that my muscles are, you know, pumped with blood and like, you know, are warmed up. You know, like you can't, at any time I've ever taken the stage completely cold, I've regretted it like crazy, because I end up injuring myself, because it's too much intensity for your body to really handle, to be able to go from like just sitting on a couch to playing Good Looking Out. You know, it's too much.
I guess you have to, you want to sort of find the comfortable medium, right? You don't want to warm up too much, and as they say in a boxer, leave it in the dressing room, but you don't want to go in cold either. So you sort of,
and I've never had the opportunity to really like sit down behind like some kind of like little kit or something like that. I see guys with little like pads and stuff like that, and they play or almost like an electronic kit that they practice on. I wouldn't mind actually trying that at some point, just to be able to, you know, get my body used to the movement and like get you know, like an idea of a pocket going with the beats and everything like that. That would be nice, but I've never had that luxury. So
that makes sense.
to me, it's usually just doing my little warm-up routines and stretching out. And like once I have my muscles warmed up, then stretch. It's funny because if Mitz is still watching, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's this thing I do with my arms, which is it's you know, you just do that for like a while. Sorry, I almost pulled out my earbud, but you keep going with that for a little while, and before you know it, it's almost. I learned it from Pete, because they used to do it at his jiu-jitsu classes,
right?
And it's like a full body warm up. It affects like your whole body. And it's effective. So I do that, and I just stretch out my shoulders and especially my what do you call that? Rotator cuffs. I got to work on my rotator cuffs, because those are easy. There's like a fucking pit of snakes in each one of those.
Yeah, and that's
waiting to fucking bite you.
And that's a common drummer injury.
Yeah, totally.
Rotator cuff. I mean, I think Will Shepler just had that surgery. What's his name?
That sucks.
What's his name from Carnivore? Our friend who drummed for Carnivore. Why am I drawing a blank? Louis Beto from Carnivore. You know, shoulder issues are something that comes up for drummers, especially when you get a little bit older. You know.
Well, yeah, I think even back when I was in my 20s, like if I did a show cold, then I would have rotator cuff issues. So it's just a good idea to get all that shit working, to get all that shit loosened up and ready to go.
Hey, got to shout out Danny Schuler here.
Danny.
With the pizza.
Also, Pizza Thread, you know, Danny knows good pizza.
What is
Much
this Pizza
respect.
Thread thing?
It's just like a group of us, you know. Danny's in there, Mitz is in there, a few of the guys from Wisdom and Chains are in there.
Oh my God! The pizza.
So it's and you know, we always just share our pizza experiences. Craig used to be a part of it before he had like some weird emotional breakdown. I don't know. You got to ask Craig about that. I wish you could have asked him a few weeks back.
Well, Craig keeps trying to come on the show with his crappy internet, and like comes on, and then I have to get him off, and then I have to, you know, it's like. You know, the guy, you know the guy, he won't splurge to get the proper internet.
He don't splurge on anything.
On anything. He won't splurge on anything.
Except pasta. Pasta is probably the only thing that he'll splurge on.
No, that crap they call pizza and amores. That he'll
Wait. Let's be fair to Amore. Amore actually makes very good pizza. I have to say they do make very good pizza. I know you're sick of hearing Amore.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I love it. It's real New York pizza. It's old school New York pizza.
Oh, and when Steve was on here earlier, he was talking about Lucia, right? Lucia is the sister restaurant to Amore.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's where he said he had just eaten at.
Let's bring Steve on. Hey, is that right, bro?
Lucia, yes,
right?
I believe it's the same owner.
Well, what I've heard is that it used to be, and the fact that it's Lucia and Amore now means that the two, the people that were involved with Lucia, they split. So now there's Lucia and you got Amore now separate. And
they're both fantastic. I think Lucia is a little better.
You kind of see that happening in a lot of places. Tacanelli's in Philly, for example, they're an amazing pizzeria. But if you go to the wrong one, then you're not getting the real Tacanelli's experience, as opposed to the new place, which is an offshoot of the family, keeping the family name. But there's all kinds of beef between the two ownerships, you know. And and L&B out of Brooklyn, you got a guy that left there and started the Square on Annandale down in Staten Island.
You know what, Steven? Maybe we should do a pizza episode and just like we did my walking tour the other day.
From Amore.
Yeah, right. Please don't make me go in there again. Like Johanna was on the walking tour the other day, and we had Joe's. And it's true. I did say Amore's better than Joe's. It is because Amore.
You said that?
No. I think Amore's is better than Joe's.
Oh wow, really?
We had Joe's the other day, and it was like, it
looked good. I saw the pictures.
Yeah, well,
Gojo knows good pizza. Unfortunately, she lives in Pennsylvania where she can't get it, but she knows good pizza because she grew up around here.
Lou says it would just be a bunch of yelling.
People yelling. Well, if you involve Craig and if you involve Jay, forget it. It's just going to be like they're so emotionally attached to this one place that nobody's going to be able to get a word in.
I got to ask you this question. Papa Lucho has been asking the whole show, are you a Smiths and Morrissey fan?
Smiths more than Morrissey. I like the Smiths. Even when it was like Lou's wife Melissa's birthday party one time, and she had it at a karaoke joint in the Lower East Side. And I karaoke'd the song "This Charming Man," and it ended up being really actually pretty good.
There you go. Hey, Rat Bones, what's going on, man?
What's up? I'm dying to jump in, man.
What's
You're
up,
in,
man?
bro. You're in.
I got notes. What's up? We could go another hour, Armand. So important to hear you talking about all this shit.
Yeah, I'm fucking blabbermouth.
No, man, it's incredible, man. It's great.
Thank you.
What do you got, Rat Bones?
I just want to say, like, for me, I come from the metal era, and up until like Rest in Pieces, I had only seen like the guy from Exciter be a drummer and a singer, And I wanted to ask you, I got a couple questions for you. You got to let me get down today, Drew. Armand's the man over here.
Listen. We're 2.5 hours into this thing. Don't hijack this thing.
I'm going to ask a question.
Go ahead. Ask a question.
So, was that on your radar? You're a big metalhead and everything. You come from that whole world. Like, and also, did you ever sing and play drums a set with Rest in Pieces live?
No, I never did it. I never did the Don Henley thing. And we've even talked about it with Sick of It All, where there are certain songs where I think it would benefit from me being able to do certain parts vocally, but it's like the way I play drums and singing, they don't really work together. I never actually tried it, but any sound man we've ever worked with has always kind of discouraged me from doing so, or at least trying to do so, because it's an extra microphone sitting right here with all of that noise. And I don't know, it's just like I kind of huff and puff a little bit too much. You call me the machine, and I appreciate that, but there's a lot of effort, you know what I mean? And being the machine.
I call you the locomotive.
Oh, thank you.
And I also got to say, I just want to squeeze it all in and get it out of me.
Come on, keep it moving, baby.
I was living your songs in the 80s, Armand, and 89, 90 when the Rest in Pieces dropped. Like, I was living in Detroit in this. You know what I'm saying? So when we saw that, Detroit, and this record came out, which I think is highly now everyone loves it. But back then, I think it was like people didn't get it. I got it from the jump. I lived that life. And you guys always, we're Sick of It All too, all the guys, always treated us guys that were in the scene, that were in the pit, that believed in you guys so much. You always treated us with like such respect, that you believed in us too, the way we believed in you.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I've known from the minute I met you that you were like a catalyst. You were almost like a fucking you were like the spark that any show that Rat Bones is at, he's like the spark that like sets the fucking night off. You know what I mean? It like a show is either good for the audience or bad for the audience. If Rat Bones is there, it's going to be good because the audience is going to like get into it, because he's like a passionate guy with passion for the music, and he fucking goes absolutely fucking bonkers. So yeah, it's just, he's any kind of guy like Rat Bones who's there supporting the music the way he has done over all of these decades. You instantly recognize that in somebody, and like when you can feed off of their energy, then the band is going to be better for it, and that's how it's always been.
Not too many people, as Joe James says, not too many people have a song written about them. Rat Bones does that. All right.
I got it. Let me wrap it up now, Drew. Come on.
This is it. This is it. This is it, baby doll. Last one.
No pressure, buddy. The first time I really saw Rest in Pieces was at a Saturday Pyramid matinee. And I'll never forget, I was still mad punk. And like, I was, we were weirdos back then, punk rockers. And I sat under a table. Rabies, of course, let me in free. It was like, oh, this kid looks cool. I still had my mohawk. And I used to sit on tables. I used to sit on the tables at shows to like watch chicks walk by and hide out. And I saw the pit, and I'll never forget the Rest in Pieces pit. I was like, you were very intimidating back then. Like, it was different. And I remember one person danced at a time. And if a person went in the pit, like someone would just grab and yoke him out of the pit and throw him off to the side. They just roll out the side. But that made such an impression on me back then, Oh,
so we had the Soul Train pit going on.
Yeah.
The line dance, right. Like you had a minute in there and everyone else respected you. That made a big impact on me. I was only, 20 years old, whatever,
Wow.
So, all right.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Okay. All right, Rambo.
I love you. I really want to ask him what his top 3 drummers are too. I mean, we got him right here.
Watch the 10 questions I did with him.
Drop it. Top 3 drummers. Give it to us.
Go ahead.
Rat Scabies, Mackie, and John Stanier.
All right.
Rat Scabies from Overkill?
Rat Scabies from the Dam. Yeah.
Rat Skates was from Overkill. Right.
Oh, there you go.
I was Van Halen, Bonham, and Perp. And you.
Oh, nice. No, I'm going for more of intensity rather than technical ability.
There you go. Hey, Rat Bones, thanks, man.
This great one, man. This really, man, was moving. Like I got the goosebumps a few times and everything. Just hearing that old shit, man, really churned it up, man. That's what this is really all about, man.
Awesome. That's why you're fucking awesome, Rat Bones.
Armand, thank you so much. No higher compliment than that.
Hey, we missed your kids screaming in the background today, Rat Bones.
We went pumpkin picking today, so.
Oh, upstate?
No, just out in Queens, but you know.
Are they in Amore? Are they in Amore?
They went with their aunt and uncle out and their grandma and everything. So yeah, and you know, we got the original 1989 Blood, Sweat, and Tears on today.
Wow, that's original, huh?
You know, I got this from a good friend. You know, his girl had it, and they were like, "Rat Bones, you need that." So
took it off his girl. Yo,
awesome.
Yo. All right.
I should have worn the Rat Bones T-shirt. I didn't think. What's wrong with me?
That was the best.
Yeah. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you soon, Rat Bones.
You, bro. Let's see the solo project next, Armand. Let's go.
All right, man.
All right. Woo!
Yeah.
It's the Rat Bones Show live. I'm your host, Drew Stone, and listen, we love Rat Bones, man, and he's a big part. Hey, Steve, you still with us? Hold on, let me unmute him. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
You got anything for?
I do actually.
Go ahead.
I have a question. It's not Rat Bones top 3, but being that you're really such a, I mean, I don't want to. I guess I'll use the word beloved, an influential drummer in the scene. If you could create kind of like your fantasy hardcore band that you would be in, but with only musicians you haven't played with, who would it be?
Shit. That's a good one.
And I better be fucking singing,
yeah, like, what am I doing? Am I playing guitar? Am I on vocals?
Being that you've done it all, that's up to you.
Shit, I don't know. I guess,
and you can have 2 guitar players.
I would be very tempted to say the whole front line of the Bad Brains, you know, because obviously the Bad Brains are the greatest to ever do it, you know, so I would go with that answer right off the bat. I was lucky enough to play in Moondog with not Arthur, Wally and Luke from Gorilla Biscuits. That was pretty cool.
Is that right? You were in Moondog? I didn't know that.
Just for one show.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we just did one show together, but I don't know. Luke was on bass. That was the cool thing about it. But
wow.
But Wally was, he was just playing guitar. But like, you know, Wally comes to mind because he's like an accomplished guy, and he's and I'm excited to see that he's going to be coming up as a guest on your show because he's like seeing your movie. He was one of those guys with the like his humor just cracks me up like crazy. Like the shit he comes up with is just like, it's so low key, but it's so funny at the same time. And it's like, he's one of those guys that like, I'm sure the show is going to be a great thing to tune into because he's just a very funny guy. Like people don't give him credit for his comedy, but his comedy along with his music.
Also, you know, I got to say that like yourself, he's in the game a long time. And he's really doing it and doing his best to make a living doing it. And so, you know, he's got a lot to say. He's really out there, you know? Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. So, I mean, as far as like the band thing goes, shoot, I mean, there's a lot of people that have done this music and have done it so well. Like, you know, it's hard for me to come up with like another guitarist. Fuck, man. Like, see, it's difficult. Like any question like this, it's always hard to like. Really
because then it's always a couple minutes after you go, damn, I forgot about, you know, right?
Yeah, totally. Those are the moments because hardcore being what it is, you know, you're asking from a hardcore perspective, like who from the hardcore scene would I really like to do a project with? And I don't know, man. I mean, I'm almost tempted to say like Lee Ving, you know,
Yeah, there you go.
like Lee Ving would be fucking great to do something with.
Yeah, listen, I like this. He's avoiding the question like the plague. All right.
No,
Hey,
I'm not avoiding it. It's hard to like really say because you know, it's one of those very difficult questions to answer.
all right.
It's really hard for me to like choose favorites.
Of course.
But and that's why like the Bad Brains are such an easy go-to, because you know that the guys were just such good players and they wrote such great music, and the chemistry between them is so great that like that's a very easy go-to.
Cool. Well, thanks, Steven. Good question.
Oh, no problem.
And
You know what? One last question.
okay, Rappo.
Yeah, really. So which Manowar song is Sick of It All going to cover?
I battle him. We would have to do that one because I
Battle
mean,
him?
and it would be great to hear Lou sing it. I would love
Kill.
that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That would be awesome.
It would be like you know, it would be like an opera. It would be great.
Sick of It All with the full orchestra.
I would love to hear Lou sing especially the quiet part. Strange losses, men died.
All right, Steven. I'll talk to you soon.
Great seeing you, man.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Steve.
man.
Take care, man.
I like this one. Our friend Chris from Rikers. Now that I flipped my Kangol, Drew, you now look like Klaus from the Scorpions.
Oh wow.
Big city nights.
Come
You
on.
keep me rocking. Big city nights. Well, wow. Well, that was fun, man. That was a fun show, bro.
Awesome.
Hey, you know what? Why does this now? You don't got to answer this if it's. People keep asking about this. What is this balls thing? That all through the whole show. What is this? Is there a balls?
Oh, no.
Song? You guys have a song balls something? What is it? That this one guy the whole show is asking. Maybe is it an inside joke? Where is it? All right. Post balls and all. What is this balls and all? Any idea?
Man
what? Oh, can you hear me? Well, there you go. I think that put it over the top. Are you with me? Can you hear me? Wow. Well, that gives me a second. I think that put things that put things over the top. But hey, that was a hell of a show. Fun time. Thank you so much. I want to welcome my newest patron, Mr. Paul Rowland. Finally stopped lurking and came in from the cold. You other people are welcome to come in from the cold as well. There's the Patreon page. Come on. Also, the merch. Don't be a freak. Buy a mug. Buy a mug, you slug. Here's the there's the merch. Armand knows he froze. He's going to come back. We'll see. Hopefully he comes back. If not, we'll wrap it up in a couple minutes. It was a great show. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Big city nights. They keep me rocking. How's that? All right. What else? You got your balls to the wall. You got your balls to the wall. Woo, getting kooky. Hey, who's up next? Paige from Helmet is up on the next show. You know that, right? Hold on. This should be cool. We got a couple mutual themes here. So Paige from Helmet's coming up on the next show. That's this Sunday. So make sure you tune in for that. Yep, definitely a great guest. Oh, he's coming back, and he's back.
Hey,
Hey,
sorry
cool.
about that. It seems like I just lost the Wi-Fi. I don't know what the fuck happened.
It was great, man. It was a great show. I want to thank you. But what's this last thing about this balls thing that everyone keeps posting about? Is there a song, Balls and All?
Yeah, Balls and All is a Rest in Pieces song.
Is it what I think it is? Should we not be talking about that on a family-orientated show?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like I mean, back in the day, it was like a shout out to the ladies of the night,
Ah, okay.
giving them props for doing what they did.
Okay, Balls and All is a Rest in Pieces song. Balls and All. Boy, this is like your big hit, bro. I mean, for the amount of
it's kind of strange how like I could go, shows to the other bands' shows, for example, and hardly anybody would come up to me and say like, "Oh, Sick of It All." I saw Sick of It All this time, blah blah blah. People come up to me, "Yo, Rest in Pieces, Balls and All, Balls and All."
That's great. That's great.
It's
Hey,
cool.
I want to thanks a million for coming on, Armand.
Thanks for having me, Drew.
I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun show.
Awesome, man. I had a lot of fun too.
You're welcome back anytime, man.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Good luck with everything. We'll speak soon.
Thanks, man. Stay well.
I will. You can
Talk to you
count
soon.
on it. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you go, man. That was a really, really great show. A lot of fun. Thanks for hanging in there. It was a really long show. It's probably one of the longest shows we've done. Super great show. Let me get all the banners off. Let's wrap it up. Once again, thanks. Listen. Who's the luckiest, most grateful guy you know? That's me. Thank you so much for supporting the show. I love doing it. I'm so fortunate that it's found an audience. Yes, Armand delivered the goods. Yes, Tim Williams, it was a good show. Upstate Rick, thank you. Thank you for keeping everybody together when we're not doing the show. We'll see you on Sunday for Paige. Maybe we'll talk about some more pizza. Until then, do good things and good things will come to you.